Oh, how you doing? How's it going? How's it going? How's it going? I better put some lip gloss on. I don't nobody think I'm dead. It's been a long day. I've been working all been working all day long. Trying to get stuff done. Trying to get stuff done. Mm-hmm. I wanted to come out here before it got too late because I'm probably gonna fall asleep. I've been up since early this morning. Well, not early. About 9 a.m. and I've been working this whole time. And I just quit. I just stopped about a half an hour ago. Only thing left to do is to drink some hot tea and go to bed. I made spaghetti yesterday, so I ate spaghetti for dinner. I ate spaghetti twice today because I didn't really have nothing else, so that's what I ate. Well, that's all I've done. So, I ain't done much but work, but clean up a little bit. Went in the bathroom, cleaned up a little bit in there. Clean out the microwave. Clean the kitchen counters. Put the dishes in the dishwasher. Blah 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 blah. You know, just doing a routine cleaning. I do a more thorough cleaning on the weekend. But I cleaned up a little bit and that's it. That's all I've been doing. Trying to stay off social media because social media is a crap show right now. A lot of crazy stuff going on, so staying off of there and focusing on work, and that's it. That's all I've been doing. Thinking about all the new projects I'm going to do too. I got new things I want to do and stuff like that. But today I wanted to talk to you guys about, you know, um, uh, basically a lesson learned and talk to you about my experience, you know. So if you ever lived with somebody and maybe you had to put the person out, this may be up your alley. This story I'm gonna tell. But I'll wait till a few more people might come in and out. I don't know. But yeah, so uh you know, having relationships can be very challenging and very difficult. So I wanted to talk about that. Talk about you know, having expectations of somebody and that sort of thing. Because I think that is relatable to a lot of people going through the ups and downs and challenges of being with somebody. It can be sometimes you don't know what to do. You don't know exactly what to do when you in these relationships, you know, you don't know exactly what to do. So you have to, in my opinion, in hindsight, tread carefully, especially with who you dealing with. Oh, there go the rest of my nails. Look. So, I need some lotion. Hold on. But I have, a plumbing project. I know that's right, Mr. Glide. I know that's right. Go on out there and shop till you drop. You deserve that, plunging them toilets. You out here doing God's work. Unclogging one toilet at a time. Yeah, because these people, I know they be out here just filling their toilets up with McDonald's every single day. Just a big old backup log of stuff. But thank God for plumbers. But thank God for everybody coming to my live stream. Like, share, and subscribe. How's everybody doing this evening? It's supposed to be a tornado here in Indiana. It's supposed to be a tornado here in Indiana, so if we randomly get disconnected, I probably got swept up. I probably got swept up by the tornado. I know that's right. Buy that woman some new clothes. That's what I'm talking about. Shop till you drop. Yes. Sound like a good time. That's not a good time. Take your woman out. Buy her a little something. Make her feel good. Yeah, that's what it's about. It's 2:05 a.m. Damn. You be blocking them with sloppy joes. What the hell you talking about? What the hell you talking about? Who you blocking with sloppy joes? I don't know nothing about that. You trying to buy some property in Indiana, go ahead. We got plenty of land. We got all kind of area land here, all kind of corn properties, farmland everywhere. You can have you a farm with 16 horses, 19 cows, 6 pigs, 2 dogs, and about 5 cats. You can do that here in Indiana. You sure can. Have you a whole farm, have you a whole zoo if you want to. When are we going to iron your wig? My wig ain't getting ironed, but you can buy me a new one anytime you want to. Cash App, Livia Flair. Right, you need to spend more. Yeah, that's why I keep telling the men in here. Spend your money. Stop hoarding your money. Your money is meant to be spent. The government recognized the value of men and said, hey, we're going to give y'all a little bit more money than the women so y'all can spend money on the women. Okay, so you can increase your lifestyle, so you can buy property and invest and build yourself up. That's why they gave you that extra pocket change, not to buy Jordans, not to buy your friend Tony some cigarettes. Your extra money is to invest in yourself, property, and business, and women. That's it. That's what your money for. You got that WWE money. I ain't got no WWE money. Where I get some? I ain't got that. I'm sorry. I ain't got no W. You like spreading open taco? What the hell that mean? I don't know what that mean. That sound nasty. You looking for a woman that wants to manage a hair salon? Oh, you can find them anywhere. Go down to Atlanta. All kind of women down in Atlanta, they love to do hair, chop hair, braid hair, flip it to the side, wig install, sew it in, flip it over, roll it up, French roll. There's all kind of women down south to do all the hair. Go on down there. Scared money don't make. There you go, 95. There you go. Scared money don't make no money. Right, you gotta spend your money. You gotta spend your money. Stop hoarding y'all money. Go on, spend your money on these women and have a good time. But you are Mark Henry. I don't even know who Mark Henry is. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Mr. Glenn. Everybody that got them BMW, Mercedes Benz, them class 3s or whatever they call them. Hey, spend your money so you can have a good time. You want to have a good time while you're on earth. You don't want to be miserable and feeling horrible. Have a good time with your money. Spend your money on a honey. Sometimes you spend your money on a honey, and your honey can make you some more money. You never know. You never know. For 20 years. I'm a heavyweight champion. Shout out to me for being the heavyweight champion of the world. Shout out to me for being a black belt, gold belt in this industry of WWE. Years ago, man, me and Hulk Hogan, I smashed him into the ground. Took his wig straight off. Straight off. That's what I did. Yeah, he ain't been out since then. So don't even ask him about me. He don't remember. You know, it was a closed case. It was a closed case scenario with him. So don't even ask him. He's not going to remember that fight. But it was a fight to the death. It was. Yeah, I've been around. You know, I've got a black belt. Why do you have a rash on your face that's from dirt? What rash on my face? I got a rash on my face from dirt. Are you calling me dirty? What the hell you talking about? He's dead? Is he? He not dead, is he? Is he? Is he dead? He ain't dead. What are you talking about? Is he dead? I don't know if he dead or not. Anyway, on the left side, I got dirt on this side. This is acne scarring. It's not dirt. It's not dirt. It's acne scars. I've had acne all my life. And at least I don't get breakouts, you know, like I used to. So that's to me taking care of my skin. But the acne scars are here to stay. Unfortunately. You know what I mean? They're here to stay. And nothing I can do about that. You know, unless somebody wave a magic wand and the acne scar just magically just float away and disappear. But that ain't gonna happen. I was the only one that didn't cry on Raw when they did the tribute to him. Well, I mean, he is my ops, to be honest. He is my ops. So, you know, but we're going to send out a prayer to him. A prayer to him. I hope he, you know, in the afterlife or on earth. I don't know if he's dead or not, but shout out to him. Some newborn babies got that too. Got what too? What newborn babies? The hell you talking about? Who is talking about some babies? I'm not talking about no babies. I'm not talking about no babies today. I don't know no babies. The mark on your left cheek. This is acne scars. What are you talking about? I don't have no mark on my cheek. These are acne scars. You are delusional. You looking too hard. What the hell you looking at me that hard for? He gave me that leg drop. you you think Hulk Hogan gave me that leg drop in 2022 and I ain't been the same? I don't know what you talking about. You know, I did put him in. I put him in a good chokehold. Slammed him on the ground, and then I made him stand back up. And then I stood on the ropes, and then I smashed him down into the ground. Yeah, I did a belly flop on him. Yeah, he ain't been the same. I don't even know what happened to him. Yeah, you know, because I'm a ruthless. Call me Undertaker #2. I've been a ruthless WWE fighter all my life. I got about 10 belts. I've been whooping butt across the country. Matter of fact, across the world. Nobody can compete against me nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. No, I'm not Mark Henry. I'm Undertaker 2.03 and a half. Okay, I've been a wrestler for about 55,000 years. You know, I've been tossing people in the ring, out the ring, on the floor, you know, all the time. Yeah, I've been doing WWE and forever. You know what I mean? Y'all have seen me on Channel 4. Turn to Channel 4 and you might see me now. Reruns. I get paid for reruns. WWE reruns. Yeah, I've been in the ring forever. You might have seen me. I had blue and purple hair, long hair. Oh, he alive? Thank God. Yeah, my ops is alive. But you know what? If he want to take on another, he want to take on another fight, we can do that because, you know, I don't. That's what every time I smash that subscribe button. The best moments, and you see, I don't need to see him. I don't need to see him because I am better than him. I am Undertaker 2.03 and a half. And I'm telling you right now, I can fight anybody. Anybody here. You look like Jerome Bettis. Who Jerome Bettis? Who that? Who that?
Disconnect the speaker from your computer.
From my computer?
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Oh, hold on. Okay, I'm back. Can y'all hear me? Football player. It's literally on here. You football player. Pittsburgh. Yeah, I'm a champ. Been a champ my whole life. I've been out here wrestling, fighting, and all kind of stuff. So check me out. You can see reruns of me doing all kind of stuff. You know, to my ops. You can see me on Channel 4, Nickelodeon. Yeah. Yeah, go to Channel 4 Nickelodeon and you can see reruns of all my What? Oh, hold on.
Bluetooth device is ready to
what do you mean it's connected? Okay, let me see if it's on here. I may have had it on here. Where? Oh, here it go. Maybe it was on. Oh, it's on here. Sorry. Disconnect. Okay, it's disconnected. It's off. I had the iPad. Yeah, I'm a champ. Been a champ my whole life. I've been winning all kind of fights all across this world. Just letting y'all know about the skills that I have. What I've been doing. Letting y'all know, you know, I ain't no punk. I ain't no punk nowhere. I've been a champ all my life. I don't know when this tornado's gonna come, but there's definitely a tornado coming soon. So hopefully, if I get swept away, it was make sure y'all watch all my videos. If I get swept away by the tornado, make sure y'all watch all my videos, you know, out here. You know, I left y'all with some pretty decent content, you know, just in case. There's a lot of alarms going on out here. But anyway, I know what y'all came here for. So I'm going to go through a story time. If you see the title on here, the title is Once Upon a Time I Lived with a Nigerian. Okay? And I'm going to tell you a story about it. Okay? I'm going to tell you a story. And this is for people who are thinking about living with somebody or who are currently living with somebody and can relate to what I'm talking about. This is what this story time is for. And if you can relate, great. If you can't, you know, you can stay and listen. But I wanted to share one of my many experiences dealing with, you know, the opposite sex, dealing with living with a man. So if anybody's even thinking about it, living with somebody, listen to my story first before you do it. Listen to my story first. Listen to it first before you go and, you know, go get a U-Haul, pack all your stuff, and move in with somebody. Listen to my story first so you can get some insight, some clarity, some understanding before you take action. Sometimes we do things out of wanting to well, we do things out of love and emotion sometimes, and sometimes that's not the best thing to do. That's not how to move when you are in a relationship in some cases. Some people can move in with each other and within, you know, they can meet each other on a Monday, move in with each other by Friday, and live with each other for 20 years or more and never have a problem. Then there are some people who can move in with each other, be with each other for a minute, and it just seems like nothing's going right. Absolutely nothing's going right. And from my own experience, living with somebody, it had its ups and it had its downs. It had a lot of misunderstandings and a lot of challenges. So a long time ago, I met somebody online. Hey, we remember how you doing? A long time ago, I met somebody on the internet. Now, hey, how you doing? One time I met somebody on the internet. You know, years ago, meeting people on the internet was not like a big deal or anything. It's probably more dangerous nowadays to do that kind of stuff. It's probably not safe at all. But years ago, I met somebody on the internet. I really was about to cancel my account, and then I happened to meet somebody. Hey, how you doing? I met somebody online and I started talking to them, and off the bat, it was a lot of texting and not a lot of phone conversation. It was more texting than anything. And so we decided to meet up. We met. And at first, when I met this person, I don't know, I wasn't fully into it at first. I had my hesitations about it. Something made me hesitate. My intuition made me hesitate about it. And so when this person would try to get like close to me, I'd be like, no, I don't want you that close. Then, we went on dates and stuff like that. And it was just kind of, it was okay. The dates were fine. It was okay. After a while, we would go places and stuff like that and see each other, and he would always come to see me, when he would get off work and stuff like that. And I thought that was nice. I fell into that, oh my God, he's coming to see me after he get off work and all this kind of stuff. And, he be in uniform and stuff. I thought that was, I like a man in a uniform. I like a man in a uniform. And he would come see me in his uniform. And I love that. And so, but I was kind of in a performative stage where I'm always, every time he would see me, I always be dressed up, makeup on, nails on, always dressed up all the time. And one time he came unexpectedly, and I was like, oh my God, why is he here? I ain't got nothing going on. And I told him, I said, you can't, I said, right now, I look a hot mess. You can't come, you might as well go home. And he was like, no, I want to see your face. And I said, oh, okay. I come out there, I got 2 pigtails. I look like I've been rolled in a flour. I was cooking something. It looked like I had been rolling in all-purpose flour and stuff like that. Hair all over my hand, like a hot mess. And he did not care. And I thought that was so nice. And so, you like big tasty bacon. What you talking about? But so he was different. He was different. We were together for 2 months. Damn! I see, that's off the chain. Not 10 years. So everything was going good. When you get something good in your life, and somebody who's different than everybody you talk to, they kind, they nice, they sweet, and they write you these beautiful things all the time, send you these beautiful messages, and good morning text all the time and all that. They basically butter you up with the good morning text, and oh, it's so lovely talking to you, and I had such a lovely night last night, just taking you through all this fluff. And so the more I kept talking to him, I thought, I really like him. I started to soften up. But for a while, I wouldn't even kiss the man and stuff like that. And he was like, what's wrong? You won't even kiss? I said, because part of me was in it and part of me wasn't. And I said, you know what? I had to tell him about himself. I told him something and he said, oh, okay. So then finally he got that kiss out of me or whatever. It was okay. It got better. He one of those people I just slowly was like, oh, okay, I really like him. So we kept talking. And then before I knew it, I was doing stuff that I normally do not do. Bye, Aaron. before I knew it, I was doing stuff I normally do not do in relationships. You know what I mean? I'm a very stern, direct, person. I don't do chaos, drama, craziness. Before I knew it, I was doing stuff. Not some kissing this. Before I knew I was doing stuff I normally do not do at all. And one of those things is cooking for a man. I don't cook for men. I don't cook for men. I don't do that. That's not something I've never done. You know what I mean? I don't do that. So before I knew it, because he worked these crazy shifts and stuff like that, and I said, I want to be helpful, and because he would talk about, I said, what you eat? And he would say something crazy like just rice or just this or that, and I'd be like, oh my God, you starving to death. So I started fixing lunches and stuff like that. I don't know why. I started fixing all that stuff. And before I knew it, I'm fixing all this stuff, doing all these little extra things and all that, doing this extra thing. And then here and there, as time goes on, I started to notice some activity. I started to notice, something's off. And he would come over and he would leave real quick. He would leave real fast. And I gotta go home. I said, well, what's going on? Why you keep having to go home? And what is going on? Why you leaving so fast, so quick? What's going on? And in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, he must be talking. He must think I'm crazy. He must be talking to somebody else or something. Or he must be doing something. So I said, this is crazy. So I kept talking to him. And then finally one day, I just had enough. I said, look, whatever's going on in your life, you need to tell me what is going on. What do you have going on? And that's when he told me, he had some, personal situations. I said, wow, what? And so at that moment, I could have been like, let me walk away from this and let you deal with your issues, your whatever you got going on. And, maybe you come back or when you, done with whatever. But no, I did not do that. I said, it's okay, it's not a big deal. It'll be all right. Trying to be a good person, trying to be a team player. Oh, it'll be all right. You'll get past this and da. So, he probably felt some relief, but I felt like I knew what was coming, but I didn't think I don't know. I didn't think it was gonna get too out of hand. I just thought, okay, you got this situation. It'll be taken care of soon. No big deal. That was the smaller part of the one situation. Then a couple of weeks or months later, something else come up. And I said, oh my God. And I said, you mean you what? Oh. And I said, it's okay. I said, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Blah, blah, blah. And then the mistake I made was saying, it's gonna be okay. Don't worry about blah blah blah. We gonna get through this together. I said that. Okay, I said that. Oh, don't worry about it. We're gonna get through this together. Then another situation came up. It was like a string of things, unfortunate events that just kept happening. Just unfortunate things. And I said to myself, my God, I want to be supportive. I want to be there. Because I felt like this is a good person. And I felt like, this is the most I had ever talked to somebody. And I felt like this is despite whatever's going on, we're gonna get through it. And so when that third situation come up, I said, oh, I'll help you. I'll help. I'll help you. Da da da. And in my mind, I move on my time. You know what I mean? I move on my time, and I'm a procrastinator. And sometimes when I say stuff, I have good intentions of, doing things. I don't always finish the things that I say I'm going to do. So when I said I was going to help, and then I did not help. Yes, he is. When I did not help, that became a lasting memory on our whole relationship. So every time there was an argument, there was a issue, there was a, bringing up, oh, remember when you promised me, da 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 da. Remember when you said you was going to do da 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 da. Remember you said you was going to do da da da, and you didn't do it. So in this person's mind, I went from 100% and I started to decrease because I did not keep my promises. Not that I wasn't going to do it. It's just I was thinking in my time, I wasn't in a rush. And I said, oh, well, I'll help you in October. And October came and I did not do what I said I was going to do. So it became, you didn't do what you said you was going to do. So, it was crazy. Not Jerry Springer. Not Jerry Springer. So I carried that with me for a long time. I carried that with me for a long time, not fulfilling a promise. And so they weighed very heavy on me. So I kept trying to do things, to make up for things I promised and didn't deliver. And then I would do 100 things versus that one thing. You know what I mean? I'll do all kinds of other things. How you doing? Chicken? So I would do 100 things versus the one thing. So in my mind, I'm like, well, he'll forget about that one thing because I do so many other things. But that's not the case. Okay? So as situations go on, this person also telling me they don't need me. I don't need you. You know what I mean? I don't need you. But then ask me to do something. But at the same time tell you they don't need you. Well, I never needed you to fix my lunch. I never needed you to do that. I never needed you to do this and do that and do this. You did that. I didn't need you to do that. So I said, okay, this is crazy. This is absolutely insanity. you know. And then I started to recognize the patterns and stuff like that. And to me, it almost became like a game, like a mental game. You know, if you say certain things, it's like you have to walk on eggshells to talk to this person. Well, anyway, he went through a whole situation and a whole bunch of craziness, and I'm still trying to make up for whatever I promised, didn't do, or whatever, constantly. So then, he has a situation, and I said, you know what? You can, you can, you can stay with me. And when he stayed with me, I did not know what I was getting. I didn't know what I was getting into. And maybe he didn't know what he was getting into either. But I said, oh, there's an extra room. I'll turn that into, like a room where you can relax. Not your own room. You know what I mean? But like a study room or something where you can, because he likes to do all that literature, research, and all that kind of stuff. I said we could use this as a room where, study, whatever, something like that. What I wasn't prepared for was when it came time to stay with each other. He decided that when he moved into that room and moved all his stuff and claimed it as his own room. And I'm thinking to myself, what are you doing? I'm like, what? And now I'm like, what are you doing? This is supposed to be, a room for X, Y, and Z. Why are you moving your stuff? Why are you bringing a bed? Why are you bringing this stuff? And that's when he said he likes to be alone. Basically likes his things a certain way. Likes his things a certain way, and all of this. Likes to be isolated, blah, blah, blah. And the only reason why I suggested that he, asked him, did he want to stay with me? Because he was going through something, and I wanted to be helpful. So I had good intention. And so I'm trying to be helpful. I'm trying to be nice. Trying to be understanding. And I'm sitting here trying to understand why you want your own room. And if you know you're a person who does not like, who really craves isolation, don't like to live with people really, don't like, certain things, there's no way you should ever live with somebody. And I'm dealing with the fact that this person was so nice to me, so loving, so caring, being romantic, sweet, blah, 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 most of the time. And I'm like, yeah, I want more of that. You know what I mean? Once you get a taste of somebody being nice and sweet to you all the time, you're like, yeah, I want more of that. I would like to live with that. Why not? Why not live with somebody that make you laugh and all that, make you feel good, blah, blah, blah. And I overlooked some of the other little things. And I said to myself, okay, I'm going to go ahead and just accept this situation for what it is. You know, he living in his own room. And it bothered me. It bothered me a lot. It bothered me a lot. But you know what? I felt like whatever situation he going through, you know, I can weather the storm and deal with it for now. But had he told me he loves to be by himself, isolation, all that, I would have never even probably suggested it. I probably would have never suggested that. So now I'm in a roommate type of situation. And, you know, it has that feeling of don't come in my room type energy unless, you know, my door is open or, you know, at the same time, he would say, you are putting that on yourself. You can come in anytime you want to. But at the same time, give off that energy of when I don't want to be bothered, I don't want to be bothered. So it was like you living with two different people. One person want to be bothered with you, and the other person don't. How long did he live with you? It was almost 2 years. And so mentally, I'm just thinking to myself, my God, what have I gotten myself into? And I'm trying to be nice. I'm still trying to do whatever womanly things and, you know, all the cooking, whatever, doing all that stuff. At the same time, you sort of feel neglected in a way. But then the person tell you, worry about yourself. You know, he tell me, don't worry about what I'm going through. You know, worry about yourself. Concentrate on yourself. Don't concentrate on me. You know, that kind of energy. But in between time, we still went places, movies, we still did things. But a lot of that like one time we went out and out for his birthday. We went out for his birthday. I planned the movie. I planned the activity afterwards, you know, and all of that. I didn't have a lot of money, but I went ahead, not the popcorn with the hole in it. I planned the movie, I planned all that. Then we got to the movie and stuff like that and watched the movie. Afterwards, he loved to take pictures. You know, he loved to take pictures of himself. And so I took some pictures, right? And he wanted me to show him the picture. I showed him the pictures. He said, "Oh, you cut my head off. Don't you know how to take a picture?" And I'm like, "Oh, you know, I'm sorry about that." So we leave the movies, we go home, and, you know, we going over some more of the pictures, and he's really upset about these pictures. He said, you know, you effed up my pictures, you know, or whatever. So I wasn't going to go to the second activity after he said that. I was about to say, you know what? I don't even want to go to the next activity. Are you a Cancer? I'm an Aries. I didn't even want to go to the next activity. So I decided, okay, I'm not going to go. I wasn't gonna go, but then I said, you know what, I already paid for the tickets, and the tickets were to go see, you know, some lights. It was winter time, snowing and stuff. I said, you know, it's winter. I said, well, you know, I'm gonna just try to save face and go on and go and see what, you know. I wanted to see this place, and I'm not gonna let this person ruin my day. So we went ahead and went to the place, and you know, he's taking pictures and videos and stuff like that. You know, making sure I'm not talking in none of the videos or whatever. Taking all these videos and stuff. And we did that, and that was fine. And by the end of the night, we was laughing and stuff, so you know, it ended okay. And then when we go home, he go to his room, I go to my room. And I know when he goes to his room, he sit on his phone, you know, doing whatever. I don't say anything. You know what I mean? Because I have came in there, because like he told me, oh, you can come in anytime. But I have done that before. I went in there anytime in his room, and that phone, you know, he looked at me like a deer in headlights, like, yeah, what, like, basically, what do you want? So, you know, after that, he had another couple more incidents in his life, unfortunate events. Had a lot of unfortunate things happen to him during this time. Now I can say, you know, anybody with a brain would probably say this is a lot of karma coming at this person, but you know, he don't think so. Because in his mind, he doing everything right and nothing wrong. It's everybody else, you know, and nothing to do with him. You know, he even said to me, I don't understand how some people keep having good things happen to them and they horrible people. I don't know if he talked, I don't know, I think he was trying to talk about me. Basically calling me a horrible person. I don't know. And it all goes back to those promises, you know, him getting rid of some of his stuff so he can move in with me. He blamed me for that, for all, you know, for all his stuff being gone. And made the decision to live with me out of love. That's what he tell me. I did that because I moved with you because of love. It's not your fault. So I hear that a lot. I would hear that a lot. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. So going through that, this person, you know, ended up going through some more tragic, horrible situation. It's like the events kept inventing themselves. They just kept happening. Stuff just kept happening. I said, damn, I have never seen a person encounter this many things. In my entire life, I have never seen somebody encounter this many things. And the more he encountered, the more I tried to, you know, do things. You know, do things to soften his situation. You know, giving him movie tickets. You know, go. You like to go watch movies? Go watch a movie. You know, I even upgraded his cell phone. I upgraded his cell phone. Now the cell phone thing is a whole nother story. Now I upgraded the cell phone, and I said, you know, because you're going through X, Y, and Z, you know, I'm gonna pay for it for a while, and then you take on the payments. He said, okay. You ever send him a pass over? I know that's right. So I I said, you take over the payments. You know what I mean? Take over the payments. I got the phone. You know, he loves the phone. And he said, oh, okay. Well, when it came time to take over the payments, I said, hey, you know, it's getting close to taking on the payments. You know, let me know what day, you know, whenever you're going to pay. That's when he went into a, you told me that you brought the phone. You know, basically telling me you brought the phone. I did not know I was gonna have to X, Y, and Z, blah blah blah. It was a whole ordeal. It was a whole ordeal. I said, you know what? Never mind. I just pay for a little bit longer. I did that, and because he found out that I can see his phone calls. Not that I was looking at his phone calls. He found out I can see his phone calls. He wanted to hurry up and pay it off himself. So he hurried up and paid off the phone. So I wouldn't see his phone call. Gave me the money, paid off the phone. And then constantly reminded me about that whole situation. So I went through that, and in the meantime, I'm still trying to do extra to make up for this and that, and trying to be good and trying to be understanding. But at one point, he went through a situation that broke him down. And I said, you know, that's just something that happens. You know, there's nothing you can do about it. And because I said there's nothing you can do about it, you know, this is just something that you just going to have to deal with. He got upset and go stay with his friend for 2 days. And I said, my God. So he wouldn't speak to me. Went over there for 2 days and, you know, come back barely talking, you know, with this whole attitude or whatever. Then a couple weeks later, because he said he gonna start, no, around that time, he left. He left completely. He moved out. And then he went to go stay with somebody else. Well, we still talked. And then everything was cool. But where he was living at wasn't the greatest. I was like, God, you still, why you wanna, I thought we had gotten over a whole bunch of stuff. And I said, you know, why would you want to stay there? Da, da, da. So I said, you know, me being crazy, I said, you know, you can always, not with rats running around, I said, you can always come back. And I don't know why I said that. But he came back. And what happened, that didn't last very long when he come back. When he come back, it was around October. No. It was around July or something, June or July. When he come back, everything was fine for a while. Everything was okay. We had gotten over some things. The things were improving a little bit, but he had some other issues come up. And you know, with his job. And then before I knew it, you know, without telling me, even though his job was kind of dangerous, and you know, I didn't think working at that job would be staying at that job would be, you know, great because it's so dangerous, and almost dying at the job. So one day he just came in the door and said, you know, I quit my job. Even though I wasn't mad at it, I didn't understand what was going to happen afterwards. And once that happened, and within a few weeks, when he realized he couldn't find, it was too hard to find another job. It was too hard. When he realized it was difficult, he you know, became silent, you know, silent towards me, and I'm trying to help him. I'm trying to help him start a business, and then he told me he don't need my help. And it was just a whole thing, back and forth. You say you don't need my help, but then you ask me to do stuff. But then you say you don't need me, and you never needed me at all. And you got people to help you, and you don't need me. So it was a whole thing going back and forth with that. But I never argued with him. But I did bring stuff to his attention and be like, you know, what you doing or whatever. I don't like this or that. Maybe he sells the big. And so I would bring stuff up to him like women do. You know how women do. You know, we need to talk out. You know, whatever's going on with you, let's talk about it or something. And he, you know, barely wanted to talk about those things. And I'm like, you know, he said, you know, you concentrate on yourself, don't concentrate on me. How can you concentrate on yourself when somebody is having these issues that is affecting their mental health, you know, and all this, you know, just all kind of crazy situations going on, you know. I was just like, this is crazy. I've never seen nothing so bizarre in my life. So I said, you know, I'm not going to say anything. And so we both started giving each other kind of the silent treatment. And then one day he decided to he finally got a little gig, you know, driving a truck. So he started doing that, you know. And I was happy for him finding something to do, you know, that he learned how to do it so quickly, driving that truck. And I was like, oh, okay, now you got something you can do, dun. And then that stuff started to kind of not go in the right direction. Truck, you know, trying to buy a truck repairs, all that. It was crazy. So I said to myself, man, this man can't catch a break. And in the meantime, I'm trying to help him find a job. And then he telling me, stop looking for me a job. But then at the same time, would say, yeah, I'm just sitting here trying to fill out this application, but then tell me he's not looking for no more job. But then ask me to help fill out an application, but you're not looking. But then tell me don't help you no more. It was the most confusing thing I have ever been a part of in my entire life. The going back and forth trying to figure out what the hell, am I crazy or what? Am I crazy? So in the meantime, I'm trying to just keep my mental together, going back and forth. A break can't keep. Catch me if you can. So the going back and forth and the crazy. I said, what the hell going on? I said, this is crazy. This is the craziest thing I ever been a part of in my entire life. It was just ongoing situation after situation, and he just kept having these events, these things that would happen to him all the time. And I said, God, I said, if he don't see that as a sign, this you keep having all these things happen to you, that's a sign you need to correct something in your life. And while he was going through this, I've been excelling. I've been doing okay. I was in school to get my master's degree, graduated, got promoted. You know what I mean? And so I know if I was the problem, nothing good would have happened for me either. My only issue with myself is, bye, Leo. The only issue with myself was that I allowed the situation to happen. You know what I mean? I allowed it to happen. I made promises, and that's it. I made promises, and I don't do that no more. I don't make promises. Not robbing women of their house and making promises, and I don't do that mess no more. Because in my mind, I'm thinking a certain way, and the other person ain't thinking that way. They thinking, she's serious about these promises. I'm going to hold her feet to the fire. But the day I had got tired of the whole situation, he had started talking to somebody else while I was in the house. Talking on the phone, texting somebody else. I could hear him saying, oh, so what do you like to do? And, all that kind of stuff. And I was thinking to myself, here I am trying to manage mentally, dealing with your trying to be nice about your situation, trying to see how I can help you, trying to even figure out how I can help you get a business. I would give him all kind of ideas, and then I would get shut down. Oh, I'm not doing that right now. All the kind of stuff. And then here you are sitting on the couch, talking to somebody else. And I know if I would have accused him of talking to somebody else, he would have told me immediately, I'm crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. I talk to all kinds of people, man, woman, it don't matter. You know what I mean? He would have said exactly that. You're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. So I never accused him of talking to somebody. But one day I came home. I mean, I was at home working from home. And I'm working, and all of a sudden I hear somebody in the living room talking to somebody on the phone. I said, "Oh my God." I said, you know when you about to catch somebody, your heart start racing, your head start hurting. I mean, you just the the anxiety starts to build up real bad. And so the anxiety was on the level of 1,000. You know what I mean? Because you're already thinking it, but now you can hear it for real, you know. And then on top of that, you sitting on the couch with just a towel. You got a towel on, and you sitting on the couch. And I said to myself, yeah, I know what's going on. So I guess he didn't think I heard him. Like I'm in my room working from home, door closed. He didn't hear me open my door. I went over there. I sat next to him on the couch, and I said, "How's your day going?" And then he told the person, "Let me call you back." And he said, "My day's going fine." Because one of his truck jobs got canceled, so that's why he was at home. And he said, "I'm doing fine." I said, "Really? I guess you are." And then I said, so what are we? I said, "What are we?" And that's when he smiled and says, you know, "I don't know. You know, I don't know." When he said that, when he said, "I don't know," or whatever, that's when I said to myself, "Really? I said, really? Okay." So then I said to him, I said, "Really? You don't know?" "I don't know." Very direct in my face, like, you know. And so I said, "I'm not going to deal with this no more. I'm not going to be sad no more. I'm not going to be living with a roommate for the rest of my time on this earth. I ain't doing that." I give a lot. I'm supportive. I'm very nice. I do this. I do that. I'm nice. I was overly supportive. "Oh, that's okay. Oh, don't worry about it." And one day, what else brought this to a close was the day he brought out. I brought some Popeye's chicken. And he had left him some pieces of chicken in the refrigerator. It had been sitting in there for about 3 weeks. And my son had came by and he was going to eat the chicken. I said, "Oh, no, don't eat that chicken." I said, "It's old. I got to throw that away." So I threw it away. I threw that chicken away and it started a war. "You threw that chicken away because you brought it. You threw it away and that was my chicken. You did that on purpose. You did that on purpose because in his mind, I'm some rich woman, and I'm oppressing him over the chicken. And I'm like, look. You can always get some more chicken. That's not the point. You threw it away because you threw it away. If that was your stuff, I wouldn't threw your stuff away. You threw that chicken. I mean, he was on fire about some fucking chicken. He was so mad at me about the chicken. It made me so upset. Sending me long text messages about the chicken. And I said to myself, what am I in? Why the hell I'm arguing about chicken? And usually I'm a villain as a person to date. You know what I mean? As soon as you cause me trauma, I leave you and I block you. And for me to be in this situation was so off. Not when the sun don't shine. To be in that situation, it was just so off. And I said to myself, it's just chicken. It'll be fine. Making excuses for his reaction. And then on top of that, I'm dealing with, him wanting to be with his friend all the time. Every time I would turn around, he'd run into the friend house. I said, what am I in? And then he told me I'm negative. I'm a negative person. Called me a narcissist. You're a narcissist and you're a negative person. And that's why I go to my friend's house, because he's positive, and you are negative. I know you do. And so I said, my God. And then had me questioning. I'm researching. He had me researching, am I a narcissist? I'm researching, trying to figure out, what hell am I? And then the more I read about it, I'm like, and I told him a long time ago when we first started talking, I said, something about you is off. And I know one thing, you don't have empathy. And he looked at me. I mean, dead looked at me like, And then so when I started researching the narcissist thing, I said, oh, narcissists don't have empathy. So I called it a long time ago. Long time ago. And then I said, I can't be a narcissist. I'm too giving. I'm too self-aware and emotionally intelligent, and I'm always thinking of the other person's perspective. I'm always considering how the other person feels. And sometimes when I do things wrong or I make a mistake, I try to fix it immediately. And I don't think a narcissist does that. So, had me questioning. Am I a negative person? I don't know. So after a while, after that day when I sat next to him on that couch and I realized, it's not going to get any better with him living here. It's not going to get no better. And after I had told him I would never do that, that's the crazy part. I said, you know what? When we used to joke about living together, and I said, you know how women be putting men out and stuff. I said, I can't see myself. I can't see myself ever doing that. I just can't see myself doing that. That's not in my character. I wouldn't do that to you. And so when it came to that time, and I had been upset, and I had been carrying a lot of just a lot of I don't know what you want to call it. Not care. I wasn't directly involved in his situations, but carrying the mental weight of what another person is dealing with, even though you not directly, dealing with it, can be overwhelming. And after dealing with that, and then the neglect, the off and on, one day nice to you, one day, you know, Valentine's Day, he brought me a teddy bear and a necklace, but he just put it on the counter and walked away. That kind of thing. And here and there, he would do nice things, and that's why I would be like, oh, okay. It's not so bad. He brought groceries, a couple times. Oh, it's not that bad, you know. Emotional sponge. And so, it's not that bad. And, he brought flowers, I think, one time. It's not that bad. I took him to a wedding. All my family was like, girl, he's cute. Duh, duh. And so then I was, oh, yeah, girl. Duh, duh. I said, well, then it's not that bad, Now, if you hear from him, I was a total devil. I'm controlling. He I'm sure he tells people, he probably told people I was controlling, but I never asked him, where you going, what you doing. I just watched. I'm one of those people, I'm so calm and easy going. I'm not a person that you have to lie to about where you going, what you doing, because I don't even ask you where you going, what you doing. I just look. I don't ask you. I don't have time to track you down. And now, at first, when we got new phones, we shared locations, but that didn't last long because I didn't like knowing where this person's at. After a while, it became kind of crazy, and I ain't got time for that kind of crazy behavior, so we stopped doing that. So, but I never said where you going, what you doing. I remember one time I was laying down, but I wasn't feeling that great. And he walked in the room, and I said, can you close my window? And he looked at me and he said, I'm not your slave. He said, I'm not your slave. And walked out. I'm not your slave. I said, oh my God. All right. So I thought that was crazy. It was just a crazy. It was crazy. So that day on the couch talking to him, I made a decision and I told him, you got to go. I said, you got to go. I said, this is too much for me. I was mad. I said, you got to go. I started thinking about everything that I had been through and what he was doing, his behavior. Even though he was going through something, in his mind, I should be understanding and let him go through the motions. And I think that, you should let people express themselves and deal with whatever grief or whatever situation they're going through and let them deal with it how they want to deal with it. But at the same time, when you are living with somebody, you should be more aware that that other person is also carrying your pain with you. Now you going through something, and then that other person in the other room, is carrying some of your pain too. And so even though you want to crawl up in a ball and shut the door and don't want to talk to nobody at all, it's not good to shut out the person who is supporting you. So, I did learn a lot about boundaries. I learned about boundaries. I learned about uh, being more understanding. The white man is the master. Ain't nobody learned that. What are you talking about? So I learned a lot about, those things. I learned about, having boundaries, understanding other people's boundaries, and even though I may take things as not that horrible, somebody else may be thinking that their situation is more drastic than what I would typically think of it as. So I was too calm for the drastic situations that the person going through. Because I'm saying, oh, you can get through that. It's not a big deal. Just something everybody deal with. I mean, and maybe that's not the right approach in every situation. So I do take blame for that. Not being as understanding. Yeah, there you go, Jimmy. So I'm learning to be more cautious of just saying, oh, it'll be okay. You know what I mean? Because somebody else may not think it's going to be okay. They may think, and also listening instead of trying to provide a solution. I've learned that in this relationship, listening, because everybody doesn't want your advice or your solution. Sometimes they just want you to listen to whatever they're going through. So I did learn that, because in my mind, you telling me something, I'm thinking you want me to help you, figure out how to resolve it. But that's not always the case. Sometimes people just want you to listen, and that's it. So if anything, I learned to be understanding, a better listener, and boundaries. And that's it. So on that day, when he left, I told him, I said, you got to go. He was upset. Very upset. There you go, Jimmy. He was very upset. And for a long time, he, reminded me of me putting him out. I'm in this situation basically because you put me out, type of energy. So I carry the burden, that I have put this person out maybe I'm talking too low. So I carry the burden of putting him out. Because I said I would never do that. I said I would never do that to you. And then I ended up doing it. Not boundaries. Not your sister and your mother. I didn't feel good about doing it because I knew he didn't have nowhere to really go except a friend's house. And I felt terrible. Even till this day, I feel awful about it because I said I would never do that. What? So, what are you talking about? I said I would never do that. And I did that, and I do carry that burden. I do feel awful. So I think about that every single day. I think about that, a lot. Because as much as what? As much as I'm a good person and I'm helpful and supportive and giving, you know what I mean? I'm a good person. Well, I wouldn't say a good person. I would say I'm a decent person. I go out of my way, to make your day and all this kind of stuff. Even though people don't do a lot for me, I don't make them feel bad for it. But he would always call me rich. You rich and stuff like that. I'm not rich. I don't know where he gets that from. I'm not rich. I'm not rich at all. I may just have a few more dollars than he do. But that's it. I'm not a rich person. And I guess in his mind, I don't have no problems. You know what I mean? But even if I have problems, I can't tell him because he got his own problems. You know what I mean? I can't tell somebody my problems when you got your own. You're with passive aggressive comments. I'm going to be yours on that island. I know that, right? You gonna wrote me a message in my comments earlier talking about you gonna be on that island with your family. Hey Lawrence, how you doing? So it was a dramatic exit. He was going through the house talking about freedom. I'm free now. I'm free. I'm so free. I'm free from you. I'm free from you. He went through the whole house talking about he free. And then wrote me a message hours later and said our stars don't align. Somebody told me our stars do not align, and that told me to wait for you to send me out of your house. And thank God you finally sent me out of your house, and now I can be free. And then sent me another message and said, and my new woman wouldn't want me talking to you, so don't message me. Then he sent another message and said, do you got my lamp and my remote control? And said, you are crazy. You let me take my TV and you kept my remote control. Then a day after Valentine's Day, he sent another message and said, you know, all of this is not your fault. I shouldn't have, he shouldn't have been there. And, you know, hopefully I have a good life and all that time I did not message him at all. Not the white man is the man. No, I didn't get that message. Oh, I don't know what we ain't getting that message. I'm sorry. It takes communication and but you my King Kong Bundy. It was just a moment in time, and you know, but you know what? Had he not left me, or I not put him out, I wouldn't have never moved. I moved to a crappy neighborhood to a more luxury area where I can go walking, where I feel safer than ever. I live in a very nice place. You know, I would have never moved. I would have just stayed there in that older apartment and stuff like that. So because of him, my sister came through and was like, why don't you apply for another place? I said, oh no, I'm not going to do that. But then as soon as I said that, I got a raise at the job. And then I said, you know, I'm not going to get approved for that I'm not going to get approved for that big apartment. So I applied, and the next day I got approved. You know? And right before that, a few months before he left, my sister and I, we went out. I seen this couch that I loved. It was a camel colored sectional. And we all went to the furniture store because, you know, I needed a couch. And she's like, you can get that couch. I said, girl, that couch is expensive. I can't get that couch. Not today. And before I knew it, I'm walking out of there with this couch. So everything started to change. Once that couch came in and I got the raise, then things started to fall in line. And when he left, I moved. And then I got another promotion. I graduated with my master's degree. You know, I feel better and more confident in my job. The first year, the year before last, my boss left. And so I had to do her job. And it was kind of overwhelming for me to take on so much responsibility. Very overwhelming. I was like, I'm totally out of my... Even though I had been working with her for a while, there were certain things that she did that were so perfect that at first I didn't think I could do it. And everybody kept slamming me with stuff. Hey, do this, do that, do this, do that. And I said, my God, and I go home upset. Trying to figure out how I'm going to get these things to work. And my boss, then I ended up with a man boss. And as much as I kept failing at things, he kept saying, you know what? I'd rather have somebody that fail and keep trying than somebody that never tried at all. And then he promoted me. I was like, oh shit, I know you serious? I know you serious? And he said, yeah. I said, but I did, I kept naming the stuff that went wrong at the end of the year, because we do these tax things. I said, oh my God, I said, so many things went wrong. And I said, to myself, I said, this man, he gonna give me the most craziest review. I just know it. And he didn't do that. He said, no, you're doing great. You're doing great. Don't worry about it. We're gonna make some changes. And then recently he gave me another review like last week. And he said, gave me a very good review and said, you are changing a lot of things. You adding so much technology to the process, and all that you doing, you changing everything. He said, this is great. You're innovating. And he's happy. I'm not sweating. Where you see me sweating? So, everything. Last week, I felt a real sense of peace. Especially when you've been doubting yourself for so long, and then last week that just cemented my confidence. And now I'm like, okay, I'm right where I need to be. I'm doing what I need to do, and that's it. I do my little cookie business on the side. I volunteer with the seniors. I'll be doing that. That picks up next week. Next weekend, I see my seniors. I haven't seen them for a month. I see my seniors and I teach them how to use technology and all that kind of stuff. So I'll be doing that. And maybe I'll pick up some other volunteer things to do this coming year. So as much as that person thinks I'm the devil and thinks I'm a horrible person for, whatever, as much as I gave a lot. I ain't gonna lie. I gave a lot. But as much as he think I'm the devil, somebody think I'm an angel. Somebody looking out for me. I don't know about nobody else. Somebody looking out for me at every corner. And that's why I know I've always done good. I've always made up, for any mistake. I always make up for that and do some sort of good. So, there's that. But it was a crazy situation. But you know what? We learn our lessons. Now, am I going to be tough on anybody else? Probably so. I'm not nice. Not so nice. This whole situation has made me very, very, very tough. Very tough. Like he used to say, when a dog bites you once, you don't let the dog bite you twice, or something like that. So, I am, what I be doing to the seniors, I be teaching them how to use their cell phones, laptops, computers, all kinds of stuff. They love it. They love it. This a good time for them. They love, coming to class, learning about all kinds of stuff. Yes, they wouldn't come if they didn't love it. They love it. They look forward to it. They sign up early. I got a whole sign up list. Their grandkids won't show them how to use their phone. I have some of them come to the meeting. Yeah, I've been trying to get my grandson to show me how to turn it off, turn it on. They won't show me. Y'all be giving y'all grandparents brand